Well, that's a pretty painting. Nice color choices, energetic brushwork, dynamic presence, smooth lighting, fulfilling composition, delves a little into my vulnerable side. An all-around nice viewing experience. You might say it's quite beautiful. But what does beautiful mean? Like, it has some spirit to it, some charm. It's not just sitting there, it's engaging you. Engaging me? There's like a meaning to it or something, I don't know. It has a presence, you might say. The point is, something inside of you is different because you looked at this. Something moved. Something is illuminated. The phenomenon of life feels slightly different now. Now there is something else that moves. A different set of values that illuminates something different in me. And life becomes a different phenomenon once again. Now a different value system once more, and something in me changes again, culminating in yet another adjustment to the phenomenon of life. What is that little thing that moves when I look inside of someone else's imagination? What is it that lights up? How do we study it? Is it worth attempting an answer to that ever-elusive question, what are people after all? As time goes on, are we getting closer, or are we getting further away? And are the people of the past so far behind us as we think? Take a visit to the monastery and listen to a lecture from Sandro Sebastian, the art monk. Here's another question for you, Sandro. There's also the issue of discovering who to trust with your talent. Between the art world, with galleries and collectors and art school and critics, and maybe even the mainstream entertainment industry, Hollywood movies and television, and publishing companies and book chains if you're a writer, you spend the early part of your career deciding, through trial and error, how much of this can I do on my own, and how much do I have to rely on you jagoffs? And I don't think any two men's careers have the same answer. I guess it depends on what your goal is. If it's to make money, then go ahead and sign up, but if you have something special that we actually need to see, then you might have to take a little more manual control over your labor here. And if my product is not a generic one-size-fits-all, entertain the masses with pop music on the drive home from work, then I might have to look a bit harder to find my niche audience. There's also the kind of person that gravitates to these aforementioned pop culture profit-driven industries, and how they reveal their values and personality types by way of the stuff that they make. With something like Hollywood movies, which are all about money, they depict humanity itself from that celebrity person perspective. With their characters in the movie, they take for granted that the most important thing in life to all of us is doing whatever you have to in order to be popular, and get everyone to notice you, and make as much money as possible as quickly as possible. That kind of insecurity, that inferiority complex, that pitiful, desperate attempt to feel more important than someone else, I notice that Hollywood writers and filmmakers depict that condition as normal. Hollywood movie characters in general are pathetic and wimpy, and feel at the mercy of how much people like me, as though we are all supposed to relate to that personality type. Well, not everyone is that pathetic. And as far as life being all about popularity and money, that's not really what life is about. That's just what assholes think it's about, and it's obnoxious. Then there's the way they depict on-screen romances between men and women, like it's some kind of competition to see who can bag the other one first. If I can get you to sleep with me or be in love with me first, then I'm the winner. Like being better at being a predator is an achievement. Sex happens because I'm so awesome. That's not really what sex is. That's just what assholes think sex is, and it's obnoxious. Then there's how they depict marriage, like it's dry and cynical and dies down after a few years and becomes a prison sentence, the old ball and chain. Or it ends when we get tired of this, like getting to know the person after the initial excitement dies down and having to renegotiate the agreement to keep it as part of my future and make sacrifices and make compromises, and watching the other person do that for my sake, like doing all of that doesn't bring you closer together and create a new kind of romance you couldn't have known at 22 years old. Hollywood movies think that it becomes a stale, passive-aggressive, snarky series of quips and insults thrown back and forth between a cranky couple who forgot why they were married in the first place. That's not really what marriage is. That's just what assholes think marriage is. And it's obnoxious. Then there's the general way that Hollywood storytellers look at the world around them and interpret human behavior. They have their actors copy what human interaction looks like on the surface, without understanding what deep psychological urges compel the behavior in the first place. Like there's a spiritual side to humanity that we don't see with our eyes, perhaps. There's a concept. And most of what we are is not spoken about or seen on the surface. How about that? A typical Hollywood character just awkwardly mimics the tip of the iceberg, as it were, in regards to human behavior. Just because, as a Hollywood screenwriter, this is what I see people do, so I'll have my character do this to make him more believable to the audience. Speaking again of relationships, dating, and sexual intercourse, there's just copying what it looks like on the surface, people, because I've seen other people do it. That's not what human behavior is. That's just what assholes think human behavior is. And it's obnoxious. And those of us in the audience raise our eyebrows like, I don't think you Hollywood guys know why people do that thing you're having your character do. There's a deep emotional state that person is in that is motivating it. It's not just something people do because that's what they do. Or like if it's a character who is an alcoholic, or drug addict, or sexual predator, or if someone is homosexual, and sometimes they treat it like a joke. We're in the audience like, I don't think you guys understand why a person develops a drug habit, or drinking problem, or seeks sexual encounters with strangers, or why someone engages in homosexual activity. You're aware that people do that, yes, but it's not normal. And it's much more unhealthy than I think you guys know, even if all that stuff is normal in your industry, one that most of us don't work in, thank God. That's not what vices really are, that's just what assholes think vices are, and it's obnoxious. Then there's their relentless harassing and demeaning of religion, and the Bible in general. Listening to Hollywood filmmakers, you'd think that the Bible is just a collection of fairy tales that never actually happened and was made up by people who just wanted to give themselves some cute little bedtime stories to make themselves feel better. That sounds more like what you guys do in Hollywood, not what the Bible does. That's not really what the Bible is, that's just what assholes think the Bible is. And it's obnoxious. It seems like every story you guys tell in Hollywood is from the asshole perspective. Like that industry is where you assholes all congregate and send your little message out there to the world. The emotionally stunted, sexual predator, superficial, self-indulgent, money-grubbing, anti-religion atheist, copy what life looks like on the surface only, asshole perspective on life. It's interesting to see that spiritual sickness that we all have some version of, that dweeby, self-involved, immature part of you that never quite found the courage to grow up and face reality, because facing reality would mean having to face how small you are and how you are not the hot shit that you see yourself as inside of your head. This is also the part of you that tends to rebel against God. But you are the only one who can't see how stupid you look in your rebellion. It's interesting that there is a multi-billion-dollar industry that broadcasts that spiritual sickness to the world, and it rubs off on all of us. I have a special little inner world that will show you all that I was the main character the whole time, because after all, I grew up watching this set of television shows and listening to this popular music, and watching these movies, and they had a profound effect on me in particular, shaping my personality into something extra special that I don't think the rest of you realize. God, I'm fascinating. Yeah, we all grew up watching those same television shows, listening to that same music, and watching those same movies. It has that effect on all of us. That's why it makes so much money. No, but for me, the experience was extra special. I just know it. I have a special connection with the mass-produced Hollywood content. I just know it, and I'll show it when I'm the next Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. I guess there's nothing to do but wish you luck. But the rest of us outgrew that phase, man. You gotta face reality at some point. Otherwise, your life never really begins, even if you make lots of money. There's more to it. You know, all the people that make life miserable for the rest of us, that worldview I just parodied. You got together and you started an industry. Well, good for you. So now the rest of us have the benefit of seeing what the world looks like from the asshole perspective depicted on screen. So if you're a young person watching this right now, God bless you, and you're wondering, what are these Hollywood movies? What are these people? Why do we have these in our culture? And why do the vast majority of them suck? They interview these actors in particular, and they all say the same thing. Ever since I was a kid, I just knew I'd be a star. I could tell when watching movies and television, I could do that. Yeah, but that's everybody, man. That's just the effect these movies have on people, making kids want to run off and join the circus. But the rest of us outgrew it. When you are watching a Hollywood production, you are watching the people that never outgrew it. Only they can't see how goofy they look. Anyway, when you watch a Hollywood movie, with the narcissistic person behind the camera making it, then you're like, oh, okay, if you're that kind of asshole, the world looks like this to you. That's what a Hollywood movie is. That's what I'm seeing on screen. Like there's nothing more than what's on the absolute surface, can't see past the end of your nose, project your own narcissism onto the environment around you, fill in the blanks with your imagination and wonder why it's not working. And for some reason, these people feel the need to give us their political opinions, both in person and with their movies and TV shows. Always a superficial, glossed over interpretation of a very serious issue that affects a lot of people. And your celebrity community, which is famously highly exclusive and out of touch with the general public, talks about issues that you don't seem to understand with the comprehension of an adult. Yeah, I don't think I need to be working here. I have a talent that needs to be taken seriously by the outside world, and I believe it deserves a bit better than whatever the fuck this is. As the old saying goes, if I wanted to hear from an asshole, I'd eat a can of beans. What usually causes hesitation at a new idea is the fear that it won't be spectacular on the first go. Let me tell you that there never was any idea that was spectacular on the first go. The fear of releasing an idea onto the page and then seeing nothing but off the top of the head mediocrity staring back at you, deflating your ego, gives you pause inside your head. You soon freeze up and the idea dies. Well, try this. Even if you've only 20% of an idea, just put it out there anyway. Put what you've got down on the page, and don't put the pressure on it to be spectacular. Instead, expect it to be an off-the-top-of-the-head improvisation, based on immediate impulse. I mean, that is literally what it is. What else is it going to look like? So after you've let your imagination cough something up, the piece will look back at you, and as your eyes comb it, you can bet that your imagination will whisper something to you as you look. It will want a nudge here or a budge there. All it needs is a little faith in it to get started. A relationship with one's imagination must be cultivated like a relationship with a person, make sure you spend time with it as often as possible and listen to it talk whenever it wants to speak. The more love you show it, the more love it shows you. The more you converse and become familiar with your imagination, a deeper trust occurs, and you're more easily able to ask favors of it, make requests, and get use from it at a moment's notice. Be careful not to neglect it. If you abandon it, ignore it, or brush it aside when it has ideas, your friend will become indignant when you ask for something. Keeping the rope tight and maintaining a secure bond between you and your imagination is key for asking it to improvise for you. Do you ever think about how you would explain what you do to a 6-year-old kid? Someone who's new to the world and hasn't been corrupted yet or discouraged. An innocent eye that hasn't been forced into our contrived thought bubble yet. The one that we pride ourselves on, but has no relevance to anything at all. How would you explain your occupation and its purpose to such a being? Well, you see, when you're a kid, and you have a hard day at school, and you're feeling bad, you can go home to your parents and tell them about it. And because the adults used to be kids and remember what it was like, they can tell you that everything is going to be okay. But when adults have a bad day, or go through times that make them feel bad, they don't have anyone there for them. Out there, no one has been an adult before. It's everybody's first time, so no one knows what's going to happen next. It makes the adults get scared. Even grown-ups get scared, especially the ones that have no one there to protect them. And when they get scared, they do mean things to each other, because they think it will make them feel better, and always end up making it worse instead. The point is, sometimes even the grown-ups need someone to tell them that everything is going to be okay, and they need to hear it from someone who lives out there with them and speaks the grown-ups' language. That's what I do. I make things that tell the adults that everything is going to be okay. It's not as scary as it looks. Let me tell you what this paint stuff is, because most people don't know. It's a magic solution, a wishing liquid. What you do is you dip the brush into the wishing liquid, and then make a wish as you put it on the surface. You keep that wish in your mind and feel it move down your arm and onto the page, and paint it. You have to believe in it as hard as you can, though, or it won't work. Then, if everybody looking at the painting believes in the wish, then it comes true. It's not just a wish anymore, it's real. And it makes the grown-ups happy to see a wish come true. Because if this one came true, then so can others. Maybe some of my wishes can come true. Seeing another grown-up do this makes the bad feelings go away. And the grown-ups have tried everything to make the bad feelings go away. When they can't do it, they just accept the bad feelings as normal. They try making lots of money, owning lots of things, being popular and getting lots of attention, gaining power to assert myself over others, drinking lots of alcohol, doing lots of drugs, having sex with strangers, who are also here just to make their own bad feelings go away. They try all these things and wonder why it doesn't work. But seeing God's love for us, and seeing that He blesses individuals with a talent that picks up our spirits, proves that He still cares about us. And this is the only thing that makes the bad feelings go away. The people who didn't believe hard enough are the ones who end up on the university art department faculty, and they are the most scared, most cranky of all. Their wishes didn't come true, and they wonder why. But I had to let my own bad feelings go if I wanted to show others how to do it. To learn to do this, I looked at work from time periods before us, going back to the Renaissance and before, the ancient world, the grown-ups of the grown-ups. They leave things behind to help us know that everything is going to be okay. It won't always be like this. Most of the art in the world is fake magic. What I do is real magic. A new day's adventure, unknown to them that wait. For fantastic journeys they are bidden to take. Her bell chiming loud, kids piling inside, never to know when, or how, or why. But believe you in the tales that none can deny, the stories of those with the courage to try, recorded in the chronicles of Ryerson High.
Sometimes when you start at a new school and early on make friends with another kid, a dude that you click with, like, this guy speaks my language, you might have each other's backs all 4 years. There was a kid I would talk to in 9th grade, and he still goes here at Ryerson. I just don't hang around him these days is all. It was 2 months into the semester, and I was hanging with Yar and some kids I took for his buddies. Y-A-R, Yar, that's dude's name. At first, I thought he was the leader of that little gang, 'cause he seemed cool to me. Could be, though, that those guys weren't regular buds of his, seeing as how I only saw them like twice. We sort of broke away and hung out in another crowd soon after. It didn't stop our friendship, though. Whenever we'd eat lunch, we'd sit on a bleacher at the football field. There'd often be groups of kids playing out in front of us, with some members from the football team playing too. We liked watching, and Yar was mostly a normal guy, reacting to events on the field. But sometimes a weird thing happened. He'd react big to something small, and maybe once in a while laugh out loud when nothing even happened. There would be an awesome pass, catch, or touchdown, and I'd say, "Great catch!" But Yar would sit quiet to react a second after. The group of players lined up for the hike, not even moving, but I'd see Yar's eyes leaping around like he's following something darting rapidly, smiling while swiveling his head. "What do you see out there, Yar?" I'd started asking. "The play isn't going, they are just lining up." Anyway, when his answers kept being sketchy, and he was getting mad at me for not seeing it, I didn't stay friends with him. Then, high school continues. I get deeper into my adolescence, finding new buds, doing whatever they did, smoking whatever they smoked, fighting whoever they fought, get written up, wander in and out of some other cliques, squads, gangs, and find myself in junior year on the bleachers of that same football field again, just on its opposite side from where I'd sit, eating lunch with Yar. Perched there, the team doing drills on the field. I've got a sketchbook I'm filling with some graffiti designs, done with a set of markers I got with me. Yar turned up. He was sitting at that same spot we used to, but not alone. He had some girl with him. She looked really pretty, too. They were seated together on the far side. Yar had his usual expression I recall from when we ate lunch together. He laughed and jeered at whatever invisible movement he saw, and I shook my head again. I quickly eyed the girl and her expression. She seemed into it. I didn't believe what I saw. She reacted with him, at wrong times, watching invisible players move. When the team left the field, Yar went out in the open space with the girl behind. She hugged close, looking anxious, as the two neared the field's center. I eyed her from my far-off bench and saw she looked afraid of whatever non-visible running around people or things that had just settled now, I suppose. The two got closer and started murmuring. I didn't think they minded me, or maybe all into each other didn't notice me. I got nearer the fence, the divider from racetrack to football field, and overheard a line or two. "The cattle can see us, but those farmers can't. It could be some animal sensitivity. I just think it's so funny when they get spooked by the players. The herd runs around, but luckily, the players can't make physical contact." The girl with him then looked a little less frightened. She stepped out from behind him. "Seeing new farmers get scared, jumping up when the herd panics, the confusion is funny to see." Yar kept up the laughing, but the girl had this intense but caring look. She got close to one, I'm guessing, by how slow her steps got. Then she extended a hand. "Oh, you're trying to see if maybe they can smell you? I hadn't thought of that. Maybe. But I haven't been able to touch them, though," Yar said with a doubtful expression. At that moment, the girl took one last step, and I saw Yar's eyes widen like I'd never seen. "Oh, look, what, I've never seen it respond to touch. How did you—" The eager boy dashed to her, standing beside, but couldn't do it. He looked frustrated, disappointed, but lost none of the enthusiasm at the girl's ability. The pair walked together, leaving hand in hand, him firing question after question to her. She only shrugged and answered in brief phrases.